Supercoach podcast where the puns fly faster than the footy. Roscoe's got the strategies, Timmy's got the stats, and the Beast, well, he's got a face for radio and opinions for days. From last-minute trades to epic captain fails, we're here to roast each other and maybe help you out as well. Expect wild predictions, a bit of friendly banter, and the kind of footy chat that'll make you spit out your morning coffee. So grab your notepad, your best banter, and join the Supercoach shenanigans. The whistle's blown. Let's kickstart your day, the off-the-bench way.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Off the Bench NRL Supercoach podcast. Wow, we've got our Team List Tuesday show coming your way now, and Team List Tuesday's dropped earlier this afternoon. Yes, we are coming to you a bit late. We do apologise for that, but we do have lives outside of this sometimes, but it's what happens. It's what happens. Tonight I'm joined by Timmy O. How you going there, Tim?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Brad. Good to be able to do a Tuesday show for a change. I'm normally at football training, but we finished last week, last game of the season, and get about a month off before a summer competition starts. But yeah, mate, it's nice to be here. Just excuse my apologies to the viewers if I'm a bit nasally. I've been home crook all day, and we got to get this out. So
it has been it's been a few months since you've been on this one. So well, here we go. Well, believe it or not, we kick straight into your team. There's a bit of controversy there this afternoon with the Broncos, but we'll get to that in a minute. What's happening with this team?
Yeah, look, mate, there's not really any changes for the Broncos, bar the one with Jesse Arthurs going in and Gemmet Shibasaki dropping out. There's a few rumours getting around as to reasons as to why he's been dropped for disciplinary reasons. We probably won't go into that too much yet until it's been confirmed by somebody with a credible source. But, there's rumours about maybe turning up to training under the influence and maybe had a few too many cold cordials last night or something like that. Who knows? But, yeah, Shibasaki is out. Jesse Arthurs is back. So Dean Mariner goes into centres. Jesse goes back onto the wing. Outside of that, not a great deal. Brendan Piakura is named to start in the back row with Jaden Hunt going back to the bench just in a straight swap from last week.
Mate, old Shiva, hey? They'll certainly welcome him back. They're probably looking to rest him anyway. He probably was a bit overdone.
Yeah, well, look, he's had a bit of a cracking season and certainly came from the clouds for round one, didn't he? He didn't seem to have a club or was playing reserve grade somewhere, and just came from nowhere to get the run-ons for the Bronx at the start of the season. I believe it is a contract year for him as well. So he's played well for this season up until now. He's obviously been in and out of the squad a couple of times. But yeah, hopefully there's not much to it, and he's back out there soon because he's been really handy for us this year. Pretty handy replacements though, with Mariner being able to go from the wing to the centre, and then Jesse Arthur's coming straight back into his usual left-hand side wing spot.
All right, so the Melbourne Storm, what's happening with them?
Yeah, mate. Jerome Hughes is back from his shoulder injury. Xavier Coates, Eli Katoa, Nick Meaney, and Josh King come back after having a bit of a rest last week. Chewy Kamakamika returns from his concussion. Jack Howarth is listed in the reserves, coming back from a groin injury. Stefano Udakamanu is being rested this week, and Sean Bloor suffered a fractured larynx, which was kept real quiet. He played the full 80 minutes last week, I believe, from memory, and there wasn't much to it. But, yeah, it's come out in the media over the last 24 hours that, busted larynx. That's pretty intense. Somewhere in the throat, I reckon, mate, just hiding behind your bushy beard there. It wouldn't be an issue for you because there's a bit of extra cushion there for you.
Yeah, well, that one really came from the clouds. No one knew about the busted larynx. That one just went, I knew nothing about it, and I don't think you guys did either, did you?
No, that was it, mate. It was all being kept very quiet. So, yeah. A larynx, wasn't that the thing that one of the 6,000 injuries that the bloke years ago, that smashed into the gymnastics horse from Nine Wider Sports ad, like that does the massive big run up and just head first straight into the vault horse. So
yeah. That brings back memories. Although you still see that vision sometimes on. Have you been paying attention when they do their sport sort of intro when they do their sport section? If you ever watch that show, you'll still see that running full on into something or other. Yeah, there's something there. But
what they call him on the 12th man was Rick Desnick.
Smash
Rick
Larry.
Desnick.
I'm sure
yeah.
Lockyer had one of those at one stage in his life.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure he's probably had 2 or 3 replacements by now, and it still hasn't made much of a difference.
All right, we've got a few people coming in. We've got the rough infringement boys. Wow, Timmy has been promoted. Broncos win a game, and he's on the Team List Tuesday podcast. They're giving it to you.
Shout out to the boys from the Ruck Infringement. If you haven't given them a listen, jump on. Joey and the boys are a great value. They would have done a live show on Sunday night, and I think they go live again on a Wednesday or Thursday as well. So, yeah, awesome. They're awesome.
Are they really that good? I mean, I'll just wait till I put up the next comment. Biggest has been a bit unwell lately. Good to see you back, Biggest. Thanks, man. And all our best wishes. We hope you get better soon. Truly, we do. The Ruck Infringement came back with Timmy's doing research. Man, I'm impressed. Where is this on a Sunday?
I can read the teleprompter as good as anybody.
And all right, so just bear with me. And Biggest in reply says, even Timmy has a decent potty once a season. Oh, God, they're giving it to you.
Oh, mate, and no comments yet about finally come on after a decent score and doesn't come on Tuesday after a crap one, something like that. Yeah, I'm sure it'll come from Joey.
Well, we're actually hang in there, Joey, because I think we've got one. I've got a bit of a question about the Roosters, or actually a game coming up that affects the Roosters that I'm a bit upset about. But at any rate, Manly versus the Warriors. Manly team's pretty much the same. Clayton Falalo comes in for the koala. The big koala bear in the centres. He's out for the next 6 weeks. Not that it's really worrying Manly that bit. Well, I don't think it will. I know mathematically they can make it, but let's be honest. Tommy Talau, of course, is also in for Ruben Garrick on that side. Okie dokie. So apart from that, Manly's pretty much stock standard. For the Warriors, Pompey, man, he's been in some good form. If you jumped on him, he's a pretty good-looking pod. But the back line is exactly the same as has been for the last few weeks. Sam Healy comes in for Wade Egan in at hooker. And apart from that, Tanner Stowers-Smith starts in the front row for Jackson Ford, who, of course, is still out. The only other one is Joey Walsh makes his NRL debut there in the 14 jersey for Manly. Any questions about that game, mate?
No, mate, it should be a decent game of footy. Both teams technically can still make the 8, so they've sort of got a lot to play for, and they just need to wait on results after this. So, yeah, will be interesting. If the Broncos knock off the Storm, then it probably makes things a little bit harder for both teams. But I mean, Bronx are not really concerned about the bottom part of the 8. They're looking more towards the top half. So. Yeah, it should be a good game. Still, with the first game on the Friday night, both teams are still going to have plenty to play for.
All right, we've got Joey's team versus Biggest Stickus' team here. Mate, what's happening here, Tim?
Yeah, look, this is going to be an absolute belter. There's no love lost between these two teams, is there? And it doesn't seem to matter where they are on the table. It's a bit like the Broncos and the Cowboys. You could be first and last, and it's an absolute belter of a game. So, yeah, with the Roosters, Sam Walker's return from concussion pushes Sandon Smith to the reserves. That's the only change from their squad that beat the Storm last round. Now, a win for the Roosters will obviously open up the possibility of them squeezing back into the 8 or staying in the 8, confirming the 8, I guess. But it's much the same for either team. Wars obviously need to win as well, as things are getting pretty tight down that bottom end of the 8, as we just said. So with the Rabbitohs, they've got Cam Murray has been named for, is this like the first time this season or the first time since, I don't know, buddy, back. Seems like the last time he played was about when Moses was walking the earth. So, it's a timely return. Sorry, yeah, that's exactly right. A timely return for Murray, and the Rabbitohs certainly need him. There was a lot of talk that Latrell was going to be back, but it just doesn't sound like he's going to get there in time. Jack Wyson Jack Whiten is back from suspension. Tallis Duncan will revert to the back row. Jacob Host moves to the bench alongside Cody Walker, Brandon Smith, and Cam Murray. So I'd expect if that team is as full strength as they seem to think it's going to get to, bar Latrell, I could imagine Cody Walker and Murray will go straight into the starting lineup. Surely.
Look, that's just about the best team the South have this year, I think, apart from Latrell. So yeah, that's a pretty damn good looking team. I like the Roosters team a hell of a lot more, but I'm very surprised that Brandon Smith has been named. But I'm not really going to comment much more on that one. I think my feelings are very much known about it. I think it's a bit ridiculous, but anyway.
It'll be interesting to see if Connor Watson starts at 9 or if they start Brandon Smith at 9, just to take the punch out of the game for the first 20 minutes, then rip him off and throw Connor Watson on. I think that'll be an interesting change come game day, and one to keep an eye on. As far as Supercoach implications go, obviously the first few games so far, we haven't really talked about it as much, but Reece Walsh for a VC would probably be a handy one to take into the round, and obviously Payne Haas as well. With this particular game, I think Teddy, you could go a lot worse than going Teddy, or something freakishly pottish and go like a Daniel Tupou as a VC in one of these early Friday night games.
Good call. I reckon it's time to throw caution to the wind, and I think Tupes could be a good sort of Tupes could be a good option there. Joey has said Watson will play off the bench, so.
Yeah, he's been getting named at number 9 for the last few weeks, and then seems to get that switch on game day. So I wouldn't surprise me if Smith starts at 9 or starts at 14, but on the pitch, and Connor Watson comes on as the utility.
Joey says this is the biggest game of the year for us. The Vermin forever in our shadow. Can't wait to win. I can't wait to see AJ not get his 3 tries. Wow.
Yeah, what actually happens there? I'd love to see. Hear from our mate Biggis. Is AJ still signed for the Bunnies for next year?
Yeah.
He is, isn't he? So, or is it going to be like he'll be signed for a month and then go into retirement after he knocks off the record? What's going to happen there? So yeah, it'll be great to obviously see him get the record this year. If he doesn't, then it'll be back to the drawing board and come back and do it all again next year. So. It'll make for an interesting start to the season.
He did sign an extension recently, so yes, he is a bunny for life there now. All right, in the St. George Dragons up against the Panthers. The Panthers have come out all guns blazing, and I mean all guns blazing. The only really star that hasn't been named is Brian To'o, which is quite interesting. So Paul Alamotti retains the spot on the wing. It'll be interesting to see his kicking, but you'd think it would be Cleary and not To'o. Yeah. Dylan Edwards is back. Tom Jenkins is back. Targo's back. They're all back. So I'm not going to name them all who are back, but just trust me, they're all back, including Isaiah Yeo. So he resumes at 13. Liam Henry, Isaiah Papali'i, Matt Eisenhuth all return back to the bench with Brad Snyder in the 14. For the Dragons.
Sorry, Brad, the only other one to mention that I will say is Liam Martin's been given another week's rest as well as Tom.
Yeah, he has too. Sorry. Yeah, Luke Garner and Scotty Sorensen are still there in the second row. For the Dragons, show me the money. Show me the money.
That's it.
He's on the wing, Christian Tuatalohu. It'll be interesting to see if he actually does do that again. Supercoach relevance for Lincoln King Toyer, of course. He will be everybody's have to play this week as we scramble to get our 17 numbers. Yep, I admit it. He's in my team this weekend. Probably the first time I played him all year. I should have been playing him at other times, but probably the first time that I'm playing him. Not really sure if Mikey Mike's out there. Maybe he's been the Mad Dragon. He could tell us. Not sure who Jacob Halagalakauku is. How do I pronounce that, Tim?
Halangahu, maybe something like that.
Yeah, Halangahu. Yeah, I like that. So he comes in on the second row in the 11 position. pushing Luciano back to the bench. So Luciano back on the bench there again, looking at that bench and looking at, 30, 40 points. Captain Cleary, that's all I can say.
Yeah, mate, this would be the tough one because, well, for me personally, I traded out Dylan Edwards last week with my second last trade. And then this week we'll be drinking back to Dylan Edwards. This is definitely a game that I penciled on the calendar. And I think I had no doubt that Panthers were going to be full strength or close enough this week. I reckon after they've had 2 losses on the trot and gave all the restings last week, they will be absolutely trying to go all guns blazing at the Dragons this week. And I don't know, in my opinion, mate, this could probably end up being a cricket score.
Biggest has just said that, Alex Johnson got 2-year extension. Wow, 2 more years of him. Wow.
Which means he's probably good for about 27 games between the 2 seasons, I'd imagine.
Yes, well, anyway, so Alex Johnson is hanging around. Yeah, all right, so this is your turn, I think. Is this your turn or my turn?
No idea, but we'll play on.
Yeah, you go. Tigers and Titans, mate.
Titans at home to West Tigers. Last game for the season at Seabus Super Stadium. Running through really quickly. Former Wallaby Carter Gordon and teenager Cooper Bye will make their NRL debuts for Desi Hasler's last game as the Titans coach. Gordon comes into the centres in place of Jojo Fafita, who has been ruled out late with a hamstring. A bit of a backline reshuffle sees Keanu Keeney move to fullback. AJ Brimson will go to the centres as he has done much of the season. Phil Sammy on the wing and... Yeah, Phil Sammy missed his game last week with his groin injury, but is back on the wing this week. Jalen de Groot and Tony Francis drop out. So that's going to be really interesting to see how Carter Gordon and Cooper Bye go. Carter Gordon is one that they've been keeping an eye on for a very long time and just waiting for match fitness to for him to be eligible to get into the 17. So, yeah, he's going to be a great watch. As for the Tigers, Jarrell Skelton is out with concussion. Humasi Makasini.
I was waiting.
Having a crack at it. 18-year-old debutant, Makasini with Alex Seyfarth returning from suspension. So that pushes Charlie Murray back to the reserves. So not a lot of changes for the Tigers, but a few in there for the Titans. A bit of a game to watch for this, I reckon. I think the Titans will really throw the kitchen sink at this. They obviously won't want to finish Des Hasler's coaching career there at the Titans. So I think they'll be giving it everything. And I'd imagine the Tigers are going to want to try and get away as far away from the bottom of the table as they possibly can and as close, to the 8 as they can. So, yeah, I think this will be a really attacking game of footy.
Yeah, it should be interesting. Very confusing, a bit confusing, the Titans team. I'm not sure what's going on there in a way. Surely, and that whoever the incoming coach next year, the fellow from Cronulla, he's going to have to do something with that AJ Brown because you can't have him. He's just wasted there in centre. You want a player like him to get his hands on the ball as much as what is possible. And languishing in the centres is weird. Brian Kelly on a wing is weird. The guy has virtually never played many games. He played a couple of games of wing at Manly, but that was about it. Brian Kelly on a wing, just weird. He's not a winger. He's not a classic finisher. Not diving over the line and stretching. It's all very mismatched. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Tigers pull their pants down, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting with Josh Hannay coming in. I would imagine that he'll be trying to tie down some of those key players. I know there was a lot of talk of Jaden Campbell being shopped around to other clubs. But yeah, I don't know. I think Jaden Campbell's a sort of player that you build your club around. So I think whether it's a financial thing, I'm not really sure. But especially with his dad being one of the founding players of the club, a founding captain, I think, from memory. So it's going to be an interesting game. I can see this sort of being a little bit of a coin toss. I don't know. I've got no doubt it's going to be a high scoring affair. That's for sure.
All right, our next game. Now, folks, we haven't gone over too many Supercoach implications because basically, if you've got 17 players this week, you're doing friggin' great, right? So there's not a lot of relevance in some of these sits and starts and whether you're going to play that player or that, because if you've got 18, 19 players, well, wow, you've done something freaky. But
I think I've actually got 21 players this week.
Well,
I'm pretty lucky. That's that's everything's worked out quite well for me, and that's the even with my last trade, like I'm still sitting. Look, I've got guys like Garrick and what's his name from the Bulldogs, Carraz on the bench, and it's just not worth me trading him out. I've been playing around with fullbacks for a while, and I've still got 5 centre wings that are playing this week. So I've been a little bit blessed, I guess you would say.
Well, Timmy is going to boost with his one trade.
Yeah, after a 1543 last week and jumping 1,000 something rakes, back inside the top 5K. So I'm coming. I'd like to finish. I think my top season rank so far is about 3,700. So that's what I'm pushing for.
Oh, good stuff. All right, the Bulldogs versus Sharks. Believe it or not, these two teams have named virtually an absolute cracking lineup for both teams. Anari Tuala comes back into the wing spot that basically replaces Karaz. That's the one big major change there. Kickout comes back in for the Bulldogs as well. Their bench is Kurt Mann, Tupanua, Josh Curran, and Reed Mahoney. God, that's a goddamn good bench. For the Cronulla, who are taking them on and really trying to drive for that top 4 spot. Kennedy at the back. Does not look like there's too many changes there. That's a very stock standard team, actually. Very settled. Toby Rudolph comes into the front row for Felice Kafusi. Billy Burns still is taking his spot in the second row with what's his name? Nakora out there. And Jesse Colquhoun, of course, is in for the injured Cam McInnes, who's out for the season. And again, they've got Talakai, Hazelton, Puru, Hamyun, Ueli on the bench. Great looking bench. So, yeah, I'm expecting this to be the game of the round.
I thought there was issues with Braden Trindle after last game, as in injury-wise. I thought that there was talk that he wasn't going to be available for this week. I can't remember if it was a HIA. I don't quite remember. I thought there was some kind of injury concern with Braden Trindle, though.
I think he got a cork, so it's whether he gets over that cork or not. But, yeah, I think he had a bit of a leg issue there at one stage during the game.
Yeah, you'd imagine if he goes out, then Daniel Atkinson just comes straight back in. He's currently in the 18 jersey.
Yeah.
And then the only other one I was interested in was Marouane Hawadi. Obviously, with Iro back available, it's there's just no spot there. So Jesse Ramian out, and Jesse Ramian back in from injury, and Marouane Hawadi out. I'd imagine
he got a bit banged up anyway, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so, mate. Yeah. So it's he's a cracking player. I think he was on a contract year as well this year. So hopefully he's played well when he's had his opportunities, but he's been on and off the injury treatment table a little bit too much for me.
All right, we've had a couple of comments sort of almost relating to this one. In relation to the last game, one of our listeners said Titans will win this. They are the third best Queensland team in the comp, with Dolphins and Cows taking the first 2 spots.
I do not need 2 guesses to work out who sent that one in. Thank you.
And another loyal listener said Sharks will win and finish 4th, Broncos 5th, and then they will be out in the first week.
Watch this space. If we finish 5th, it'll be Panthers in 8th, and we'll knock them off.
No. Now we get to this game. Dolphins versus Raiders. I've got a bit of an issue here, and I know Joey's still listening, so it would be good to have his thoughts on this. This is a danger about resting players. Now, if you haven't heard, Canberra have rested 10 players. They're starting 13. 10 are out this week. I think the integrity of the game and the integrity of the competition is seriously in jeopardy here. I really, really don't like it. I've said this previously. The reason this one I don't like is because the Dolphins could win this by a cricket score. They're playing at home. They've named a full-strength team. If they do win it by a cricket score, guess what happens to Joey's Roosters?
Yeah.
Wow. What do you think, Timmy? You get where I'm coming from?
Absolutely, mate. And like I said on the show last week, I wasn't overly impressed with the Panthers resting 16 players. I totally get that they've got bigger fish to fry. But, I mean, yeah, I don't know, mate. It's this with the Raiders. They've obviously had the minor premiership sewn up around early. It's not a good look for the game. And like we said on the Sunday show, when there's so much betting and fantasy sports and everything, so much other money involved in the game now that's not related to the players running on the pitch. And I think there's just too much other stuff involved now. And it's too easy. You can imagine, like we talked last week about the fact that families will be having holidays and plan things years in advance, or not so much years in advance, but weeks or months in advance to go down to GIO. Obviously, Canberra is really reliant on people turning up to watch their games of footy, whether they're home or away. And, I mean, it's a big deal. So for people who, like my older brother, he's a Raiders country member, and he goes everywhere to go and watch the Raiders. So the fact that that they might not be, well, they're obviously not fielding a first-grade team. But don't get me wrong, you look through the player list and there's still plenty of class in there, but it's definitely not anywhere near full strength. And like you said, a game like this where there's betting involved and everything else, the Dolphins, they're looking pretty good.
Well, final 8 positions, like I said, this could kick the Roosters out of the final 8, which – there's a lot, last week's game with Penrith, not so much riding on it. There's a lot riding on this game. This is, there's a lot for Rooster supporters. And some of it is fair income taking the piss. I mean, Jed Stewart, does he really need a rest?
Yeah.
Mate.
No, it's exactly right.
Come on, that's taking the piss, isn't it? It's played 6 games.
Yeah, it's not real good. And look, to have a look at the table itself at the moment. So obviously it's really hard for people that are listening rather than watching. But the Broncos are on 34 points. Sharks, Warriors also on 34. And then you've got the Panthers. So the top 6 are set. Then you've got the Panthers on 31, Roosters on 30, Dolphins and Manly on 28. So that's 7, 8, 9, and 10 right there. So if the Roosters get a result, it's not going to matter at all because they'll finish on 32 points. If they get a draw, they finish on 31 and the Dolphins still can't catch them. But if the Roosters lose and the Dolphins get a win, for and against points, Roosters currently 102 and the Dolphins are on 87. So we're only talking 15 points behind. So as you said, mate, this has massive implications on the bottom of the 8 and who takes that final spot. So if Roosters manage to lose and Dolphins win by 15 or more, then Dolphins play finals footy and Roosters are out the back door.
Well, Joey, the mad Rooster supporter, he's come into it. He said it doesn't matter if the Roosters win. If South somehow get us, then, it's tough. But I get it. Raiders need a rest. It's been a long season.
I agree with that, Joey, but also to an extent, like we've all been talking about it on the podcast, the Raiders had 3 buys since round 18 or something like that.
Yeah.
So they've basically had all their 3 buys late in the season. How much resting do you need?
Yeah. Well, like I said, Jed Stewart, he played 6 games and they're resting him. Whoa, the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it makes you wonder, mate. Like you said, the integrity. I was watching a thing on Fox Sports earlier, and they were talking about the same thing. It just throws the whole game out. And I mean, Raiders obviously get 2 bites at the cherry because they finished in first spot, so that's all well and good for them. But geez, you'd be a bit cranky if they went out in straight sets due to team cohesion and things like that they haven't spent enough time together on the park at full strength.
It is quite funny that some of the players that have been rested, like Tomoko and Seb Chris aren't rested. You go, they've just about played every game this year. One who has played every game, how funny is this? Owen Paddy. I think he's played every single game this year.
Yeah.
And he's the starting hooker, finally.
No, that's exactly right, mate. So,
but he plays 5 minutes a game, let's be fair dinkum, but he's played every game this year. Quite funny, that one. And Corey Horsburgh has had an enormous workload this year, and yet he's playing.
Yeah,
right?
that's
So
exactly right.
that left me scratching my head. I'm going, oh. So in other words, I've just basically read to you the Canberra team. Chevy Stewart, who we all had big expectations on this year and still a big watch for next year. It starts at fullback. Tamale on one wing with Michael Osuma on the other wing. Tomoko Chris in the centres. Adam Cook and Ethan Sanders are the new halves pairing. It'll be interesting to see how they go. Owen Paddy and at hooker. Mariotta comes into the front row to join Horsburgh. Noah Martin, sorry. My glasses were playing fogs on me. Noah Martin comes in the second row with Matty Nicholson coming back from injury, a long injury break for him, and Morgan Smitty locks it up. For the Dolphins, for the old Fins, they've just named a pretty much stock standard full strength side here. Tavita Nafu still continues on the wing. Man, he's looked impressive. There's absolutely not a change to the front end of them either. Their pack is exactly the same as you would expect it.
Yeah, mate. It's with regards to Supercoach, I picked up Kurt Donahue as you and Ross did as well, mate. After the Origin period, I think from memory, mate, I reckon he's probably been one of my best trade-ins of the season. He's been fairly consistent. There was a couple of low scores in there sporadically, but he knocked out a 70, 75, whatever it was last week. And it's been really, really good to have him up in my hooking position when everybody else has been scrambling, trying to find consistent hookers. So, yeah, it's been a little bit of a set and forget for me, and handy that you could move him back and forwards into second row. But, yeah, he's probably been one of my buys of the season for Supercoach purposes. If you're looking for captains, look, you could go left field if you jumped on Trey Fuller, or if you've got a trade left and want to go left field, you could look at Trey Fuller in fullback. I think probably the Hammer is a very rough outsider, but Izzy Katoa, I think you could go a lot worse than picking him up in your halfback spot.
All right, Timmy, the last game, the Eels versus the Knights. Not quite a spoon bowl anymore, but certainly might dictate whether the Knights get the spoon. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Eels just with the one change with Dylan Brown into the starting 5'8" spot. Is this his last hurrah? I guess they've maybe trying to give the position and give the player a little bit of respect that I'm sure he deserves. Just giving him one class crack at that number 6. And that's about the only change for the Eels. I'm not sure then who comes back in for him in the centres. Oh, Jordan Samrani, sorry. Yeah. We'll play in the centres instead. So, and then with the Knights, Adam O'Brien's named his 17, the same 17 that went down last week against the Sharks. Fletcher Hunt has been named at fullback, Dane Gagai in the centre, Jake Arthur's listed in the 6, Phoenix Crosland in 9, Jaden Brayley on the interchange bench in the number 14 shirt. So not a lot of changes here between both teams. It's going to be an interesting game of footy. I think the Eels have been looking really good at times in this latter part of the season, and the Knights are probably quite the opposite, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, really, Knights very disappointing. Very, very odd what's been going on there. The coach, the outgoing coach, by all reports and indications, is very, very well liked by the board. And he resigned. He walked into the office and said, I've had enough. Time you got someone new. So, yeah, it's a strange one, but you know, he has had some moderate success, but not certainly this year. I think the players and possibly the people putting together, don't forget, a lot of these clubs, they have roster committees, and whoever's been putting together the roster there at the Knights, they have been seriously lacking depth in a lot of their front end. Certainly their backs look okay, but no money really invested into the halves at all. But I know that's changing with Dylan Brown coming on. But yeah, the halves unfortunately, not bagging them out really, but they've been pretty crappy. And really a lack of depth in the front row a lot of the time. So, yeah, I'd go Parramatta here to bring this one home by a fair bit.
Yeah, look, it wouldn't surprise me if the Eels put on an absolute show here in this game, especially with Dylan Brown and Moses as their last game together. So it will be interesting. I think they will just click like they've been there forever. Well, they pretty much have. So, yeah. It's. I think it'll actually be a decent game of footy. But yeah, they're at the moment. Their Eels are $1.22 favourites, and the Knights at $4.35. I can see that slipping out even further over the next couple of days.
That's an interesting one that you forgot to mention there, mate.
Herbie named in the reserves. I didn't even notice that.
No.
I know there was talk about it. Yeah, listed down in the jersey number 22. So, but I was watching a thing last week and they said he's not going to be ready. So, I'll be interested whether or not they've run out of players to actually name. I'm sure he'd love to be there, and if he is, mate, he might be a late switch in the lightweights FC for my last trade. He might come in my flex spot if he is available.
All right, so it gets us to captains, vice captains. What are you reckoning?
Oh, look, mate, at the moment, I think I went I think I've gone Walsh in the Thursday night game, VC, into Nathan Cleary. But, yeah, even the Walsh, like I VC looped Walsh last week. I'm not convinced that the Storm is the right game for him. Mind you, I do think from memory, don't quote me, but I do think from memory the Storm have been a little bit leaky to fullbacks this year. But, yeah, I don't know. That's going to be an absolute belter of a game. So I think I'll probably shy away from the VC there. But that's what I've got at the moment, Walsh into Cleary.
Well, I'll be going Teddy into Cleary. So I'm pretty stock standard, really. But, yeah, the way my year's been, I'll probably completely fail. So,
No, I like the Teddy one. The only thing that's going against Teddy is obviously with Sam Walker back. He doesn't seem to score quite as well when Sam Walker's back on the park. So, or history has shown. So, that'll be an interesting one. It'll be a little bit of a head scratcher there for the next 24, 48 hours, I guess.
Yeah, well, the only other one I could do is Payne Haas, but I'm not really sure if Payne Haas would, or Turbo. Yeah. Turbo at home. Well, I might do that.
Even with that, like I've brought Dylan Edwards in at this stage for Drinky, but I've stewed over Turbo a couple of times as well. So that final trade will be interesting.
I think you've won me there. I think I'll go Turbo over Teddy, and I might put the vice captain on Turbo. He's done me so good in the past. He might as well give him another run here and see how he goes. I've got a free hit at it. So, yeah.
Mate, I've already owned Turbo 3 times this year. I don't know if I'm convinced on well enough to give him a fourth crack. So, yeah, he's almost on my never again shit list.
Oh, no, don't never turn your back on Turbo.
Until he comes in next year as a centre wing.
I think in the top 5 all-time Supercoach scores, he's got 3 of them, 3 in the top 5. A couple of years ago, and I know he's had some injuries the last 2 years, but, I'm not turning him back on that pedigree.
Oh, mate, he knocked out 180, 3 weeks ago? Yeah. So, yeah, it's he's obviously still got it there.
Absolutely. All right, that's all the teams, folks. Any other thing there, team, we need to talk about or run our eye over?
No, not really, mate. But obviously you kicked off your NFL Supercoach podcast today. So, I'll have a chat about the EPL. But, yeah, lead the way, mate. How'd you go with your NFL?
Oh, look, NFL's going well. That was our second podcast we did today. There's lots of content over there. Supercoach Nutters, if you haven't had a look at it, do go over, have a look at it. Certainly follow. And there's lots of podcasts and there's lots of written up articles as well on each position and a strength of schedule sort of analysis there. So, get into it, make a team. It's a fun sport. It is. It's I like my NFL, so it should be fun, good season.
Mate, it looked like you two boys were having fun too, you and Teddy from over in NZ.
Oh.
He's mad as a cut snake, Teddy, so he's great value. If you want to have a good laugh, go back and watch the boys with the NFL podcast.
Controlling him's the fun bit.
Yeah, that's exactly right, mate. It's a bit like my youngest daughter. We say heaven won't have her and hell's afraid she'll take over. So I think Teddy's much the same. Yeah, look, obviously we've just finished round 3 with the EPL Supercoach. I play fantasy as well as EPL. So if you are interested in jumping into any of our groups or into our overall competition, the codes are obviously on Facebook, and I will bump them back up to the top of the page again on the Off the Bench page. And if you're interested in doing the fantasy EPL, I'll put the code in there for that as well. I've started an Off the Bench league also. Not a bad round for me for round 3. Had 105. I think I just pipped you in our Off the Bench head-to-head. Yeah. So, how do you like them apples? I've actually, which put me back up about 650 spots. I think I'd lost about 2,500 spots last week. So yeah, I'm sitting just outside 1,500 overall. So I was 350 something after round 1. So yeah, I'm hoping to stay in and around that top 1,000 for the season, and let's keep on keeping on. There's now officially 45,000 plus players, so I think that's probably exceeding their expectations so far. So no, it's good. If you want some information over the next 2 or 3 weeks, especially when school holidays kick in, I will have plenty of time to write some articles and maybe start doing a bit of podcasting for it as well. But it's term 3. I'm a school teacher, and term 3 is just nuts for teachers. So, yeah, bear with me for a couple of weeks, guys, and I will get some content out there shortly on our page for the EPL.
All right, folks, that's it. I've got to sign off before 9 o'clock hits. So good night. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thanks to all the people that were. We had about 20 odd at one stage here. So thank you all of you that did pop in on either YouTube or Facebook. Thank you, Tim. Been an absolute pleasure as always. Anything else from you?
No, mate, it's been good fun.
All right. Don't forget, Sunday night we will be back. And